Hello, everybody. This is Zero to Hero, where everyday Canadians are getting ahead with real estate. This is the show where we dive into the success stories of several real-world investors. We dive into the strategies that help take their business to the next level. You get to know the who, learn the how to get what you need to succeed. Today, I'm with the legendary and awesome Shawn Guenther. Listen, he is one of the original members of Cashflow Tribe. We have thousands of members in Cashflow Tribe, and he is one of the original. The OGs is what I like to see in this game. He's also a father of 4, and he also is the #1 wholesaler in New Brunswick, doing deals, making things happen. I'm with Shawn today. Shawn, how are you doing?
I'm great, Daniel. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. Listen, we're about to knock 10 questions down together. Are you ready for it?
Let's go. Let's do this.
Okay. All right. Let's make it happen. Question number 1 is, why did you get into real estate?
Well, for anybody who kind of knows me or knows about me from the beginning, I actually used to work in the oil field. So I'd fly back and forth across the country all the time to go work to support my family and stuff. And anybody who's ever done a job like that, they know like it's not a luxurious lifestyle by any means, right? So I was doing that and I was like, okay, well, the problem with that is people end up in a trap there because you make quite a bit of money, right? So, I mean, obviously I have 4 kids, I'm a husband, and, I had a house and all mortgage and all that. So I need to find something that would replace the income that I was making out there. And, kind of doing some searching around, and I figured that I was going to be a house flipper. So, I did a bunch of searching and eventually found Cashflow Tribe and found my success from there.
Man, that's actually really cool because it just goes to show you that people can come from all kinds of walks of life, right? My next question was going to be about what you were doing before, but you just showed us about the work that you had to do when traveling and having to orchestrate that. So give us a little bit of a glimpse of what the week to week or maybe month to month schedule would look like for you, and how did you coordinate that?
For like working at West?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was a 21 and 10 schedule. So I'd work for 21 days straight. I'd have 10 days off. Usually 2 of those days off were flying days. So, during that 21 days, we'd work 12-hour shifts in the middle of nowhere, just basically completely isolated, living in camps, in all weather conditions that you could imagine. There was never a shutdown due to weather. So you were out there -40, +40, wind, sleet, hail, snow. Didn't matter, right? So it was crazy. It was a crazy job. Like there's a lot of turnover. There was a lot of people that couldn't do it, right? But towards the end, it just ended up being, the fact that the economy rolled around, the oil price went down, it stopped being, the work was scarce at that point too. So it ended up becoming, you're lucky to have a job, and then having a tough job like that, and then people, kind of giving you crap and trying to tell you you're lucky to even be there, makes it a little bit difficult. So it just started being not great anymore. I started to realize that there wasn't really any future in it. When you see guys that have been out there for 20 plus years who are working the entry level job just to get by, you start to realize like, hey, there's no future here, right?
Absolutely. And you know what's so motivating about hearing your story is because you can either go one of 2 ways about it. You can either look at the situation and just take it for what it is, maybe throw in the towel and just say, you know what, this is my lot in life, and this is just what I'm gonna have to do because I gotta feed my family. And you know what? There are people who I know personally who made that decision in other professions. Like they felt like they wanted to get something more, they wanted to do something more, but they feel like they couldn't, and therefore they just surrendered to their current situation. You didn't do that. And I wanted to really highlight that because it's so important for people to see people like you, to see, wow, it is possible. Even though you have a family to feed, even though you have a mortgage to pay, even though you have other responsibilities, you didn't allow those things to stop you from ultimately getting to where you are today. And so I just wanted to highlight that, to really make that as a sense of inspiration for those who are listening to this conversation. But Shawn, talk to me a little bit about you, because I want people to know your story. So open us up a little bit. Tell us something that most people wouldn't know about you.
Well, I am extremely handsome. That's
man, that's the best answer I've gotten yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what people wouldn't know about me. I get a lot of, usually when I tell people my age, they're usually pretty surprised. I'm actually going to be 40 next year. So I usually get, oh, you're like, 27, 28. They're like, no, I'm actually getting up there. So I guess that'd be something that people don't really know about me, is that I'm actually older than I look.
Hey man, you're beating father time right now. So hey man, enjoy it while you got it.
Exactly. I have a feeling that one day I'm just gonna wake up with wrinkles and just saggy skin.
The inevitable, man. You got
I was all at once.
I was checking myself the other day. Do I got some gray hairs here? I'm too young for that. No, man, that's super cool, man. All right, so you're into real estate now. You're doing deals. You're making things happen. Talk to us about a mistake that you made that you wouldn't want anybody to go through.
Well, I'm going to talk about my very first deal. So I did this deal, got it under contract, just like a no-brainer. It was like we paid like next to nothing for this property, right? And it was a buddy of mine and him and I have been kind of going back and forth. Like I've been telling him about, because obviously I was in cash flow tribe and I was learning all the strategies, and we were going back and forth about this deal. And once I was telling him about all the stuff that I was learning, he was like, oh yeah, let's do it. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to go find the money for it. And then he was like, well, I'll put up the money for it. Right. So we got into going down the road with this, and then we're kind of doing it together. And we decided we just kind of wing it and figure it out along the way. So there ended up being quite a bit of arguments back and forth, whose responsibilities were what, and just a lot of wedges in our friendship that just didn't need to be there. So I guess the one mistake that I realized that I made, and that I think the biggest thing I took away from that deal, was the fact that you very much need to clearly lay out roles and responsibilities prior to doing a deal with anybody. Whether it's your best friend, your mother, your brother, uncle, it doesn't matter, because when it comes down to it, there has to be a person that's in charge of certain things. Otherwise there's too much confusion, and everyone thinks that they're a boss or for this or that or the other thing. And it's just, it's way more helpful if everybody knows what their job is prior to getting into the deal.
Man, I think what's so valuable of what you just shared is because whenever new people come into real estate and they're trying to avoid mistakes, they often are thinking about the gigantic, most obvious, hey, don't overpay for real estate. Don't do this. Don't do that. Those things are pretty obvious to understand. But I love how you highlighted, I don't know if anybody paid attention to it, but you saw the deal and you said, hey, it didn't seem so. You saw the deal, you saw the way that the deal would work together with your partner, and you thought, well, hey, on the surface, this looks perfectly fine. I know the person already. I know that this is a good deal, but there's things under the surface that once it's revealed, you'll then realize, wow, there are some things that I could have done better to prevent this from happening. And I think that's what I want people to take away. Understand that it's not always the stuff that's out in the open is so obvious that when it comes to the mistakes that we make. It really comes down to doing our due diligence, asking questions, getting insight from someone who's already been there, done that, and got the teacher, so that we can walk the path that's already been trod. And the reason why I say that is because you had decided to do that, where you gotten mentorship, you had gotten that coaching, you had gotten that insight from other people who have done this business, and you decided to level up and join counsel. So talk to me about why you joined counsel, and what's the biggest thing that you've been able to take away from it?
Why I joined counsel is because I was in cash flow tribe for the longest time. And I mean, I'm sure you remember, I was always the guy sitting in the back of the room, trying to absorb as much information as possible, trying to get I guess the freebies or whatever, it's $60 a month, but really that's next to nothing. You're getting there's so much information, right? So, it just got to the point where after every call and hearing the same answers to the same questions, because everybody else was new too, I realized that if I want to do this and be serious at it, I need to level up, and I need to level up quick, right? Because I knew that I didn't want to be at the job that I was at anymore. I knew that I had a short period of time to create success. Otherwise I was going to have to go back. So I decided to join counsel. So I had, and I didn't even have the money to, I ended up leveraging all the money from other members, to get involved. So, I mean, my biggest takeaway from counsel, So the top takeaways I'm going to have to say for sure is the network that you get involved with council. Like the people are just amazing. And I think Ben says it all the time and says it best, like you're not paying to be in the room, you're paying for the people that are not in the room. And, you know, that never really made sense to me until I actually got involved with it, because you realize that you don't have all the same new people asking the same questions every week. You have everybody that's kind of following along the same path, that we're in different spots in our career, but are all asking very pertinent and very new information. And you're getting just such access to that mastermind is incredible. And like the accountability that you get with it as well, right? Like, you know, you put that money up, you're going to be accountable, or at least I would hope you would be. Anyways, for myself, it was a huge push, right? Because it's a lot of money, but make it happen.
Man, there's so many things you got to take away from that. First of all, you said that it really comes down to there is a point in an investor's journey where you got to realize either I'm going to level up or I'm not. And the beautiful thing about it is that you recognize the value in the quality of conversations that were happening at certain levels, right? You're going to have the newbies, you're going to have the people who are looking to take action, and then you're going to have the people who are looking to level up and do this as a business. And so once you decide to level up and actually join and get in the room, you then you started to realize the value of the quality conversations you were having, right? Like you said, those who were not in the room. And as a result, you can then be able to move quicker, faster, because you're not just having beginner level conversations, you're having conversations about how do we do 2, 4, 6, 8 deals? How do we get to the next level? How do we raise that capital? How do we do X, Y, and Z? And as a result, you've been able to get a lot of success. And so my next question to you, Shawn, is what is a favorite deal that you have? Give us a breakdown and give us the numbers.
My favorite deal that I've done was my very first wholesale deal. And the reason for that, like, I mean, I can give you numbers all day and really, I mean, I'll tell you what I made of it. I ended up purchasing, it was a fourplex for $170,000, and I wholesaled it for $200,000. My very first wholesale deal. So, and the reason that's my favorite deal is because the amount of work that I put into getting this one deal off the get-go. Like, I mean, I was, you know, doing flyer campaigns, talking to all these sellers and just kind of getting comfortable. And I mean, just paying my dues really. Right. But, you know, once this guy called me up and kind of told me like, hey, yeah, I got this fourplex for sale, and told me what he wanted, and I knew it was a deal. Like, I ran down there and got it under contract, like so fast, you know, and then instantly back to the house to, you know, fill out the dispositions and create that sort of thing. And I didn't even get that far, just doing a deal destruction with Matt, and I had somebody already that wanted it. So wow. Like, it went from, you know, wishing, praying, and like putting in the work to get success, and then finally getting it and it being like a home run, right? Like, wow, $30,000 is something that some people don't make in a year, man.
100%.
Like,
absolutely. And you did that in one deal. And I think what's phenomenal about this is because if I remember correctly, you were definitely putting in the reps. Like, this didn't come like day 1 or even day 30 when you were wholesaling. You were putting in the work time and time again. And it just goes to show you that it's not about which strategy works the most. It's the ones who do it consistently. If you stick with it and you pay your dues and you do it over and over and over again, if you outlast your competition, you will be the one that's on top. And this is why you can really look at that check and celebrate, knowing that it wasn't a handout. It wasn't something that just dropped on your lap. It didn't just grow on a tree outside. You planted it by doing the work, and you harvested it by sticking with it. And so my encouragement to those who are listening to Shawn's story, it may be easy to say and look at Shawn and say, oh, easy for you. All you did was just do a couple work and then you got 30 grand. No. There are a lot of people who do this work and only do it for a few days and quit. Do it for a few weeks and then quit. But that wasn't Shawn's story. I can speak from experience, seeing call after call. Shawn would say, hey, I'm doing this. It's not what's working. I'm doing this. And then it popped. And this is not your last deal. You've done several transactions after this. This is the reason how you become the number 1 wholesaler in New Brunswick, right? And so you talk to that person who may be struggling and hasn't got their way yet.
Just keep going, because like, I mean, it literally took me 6 months. 6 months from, you know,
6 months, everybody.
until I finally got a deal. And that's why that deal was so, important and, so memorable for me, right? Because I put in that much work to get there because I wanted it, right? So if like I were to talk to somebody now and have them kind of, give them some advice, is that's what you're asking here?
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Like if you had to talk to somebody who's looking to start their own journey, right? They're inspired. They said, wow, like even if it takes a while, it's still worth it. Okay, so let me get started on this journey. What are 3 practical things you'd want to tell them to do starting today?
Number 1, take action. You know what I mean? You're not going to get anywhere if you don't do anything about it. Nothing's going to fall in your lap. Like you said, you definitely got to put in the work. Number 2 would be get a mentor. Find somebody that knows what they're doing, that has experience helping other people to become successful. Otherwise, you're not, don't just pay some random person off the street. Find somebody that's credible and knows what they're doing. And 3, become resourceful. There's resources all around you that you just don't even know about because you don't ask. So I would 100%, those would be the 3 major things I would push to somebody to start doing if they want to begin this journey.
I absolutely love that because there's a saying that says great minds think alike. And I'm talking to a number of investors who are successful, doing deals, making things happen, just like you are, Shawn. And they're saying the exact same things. They're literally saying you got to take action. If you don't take action, you're not going to get results. It sounds simple, but it is so pivotal because you will separate yourself from the majority immediately if you just take action. Because everybody can be an information junkie. Everybody can show up to events. Everybody can listen. Everybody can learn, but not everybody is willing to do the work of taking action. So it's about taking action consistently. And then as well, you got to get mentored. You got to get some perspective from people who have done what you're looking to do. And I love your 3rd point, being resourceful. How can you add value to a person you're working for, a person a partner you're working with, or whatever the circumstance and situation you're looking to accomplish within real estate? Find ways to add value by being resourceful, and you will put yourself in position to succeed. So, Shawn, with those three things in mind, or others, talk to me about if you had to start over, right? Go back to when you didn't do your first deal with what you know now, but had the same resources from when you first started. What would you do differently?
I'd move faster. You know what I mean? I would get mentorship quicker. I would not be so timid to borrow money. And I'd push myself even harder than I did in the beginning to build a business and actually create something, that's going to outlast, but the biggest thing, move faster. I spent so much time trying to just dip my toes and do little by little. I would have played bigger right from the beginning.
It's such a good point because we never really know what's going to happen in the future because we don't live there. We only live in the present. But the truth is, if we can put ourselves in a position to think to ourselves, wow, if I knew this is how the story ends, how would I act? How would I wake up every morning? Would I be hitting that snooze button? Would I be pushing it off and procrastinating? Would I be prioritizing other things that aren't really serving me? Or if I knew that if I did this action, it would produce this result, I'd be acting differently. And so I think that's some great perspective, Shawn. At the end of the day, I want you who are listening to take advantage of this information and apply it to your circumstance. Shawn, before I let you go, talk to us about where people can connect with you.
All right. Well, people can connect with me on Facebook at Shawn Guenther, also on Instagram at the Moncton Wholesaler. And I do a live show every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a couple other guys there from the mastermind. And it's called We're Going Live. So at the Property Guys Going Live on Facebook.
Oh, that's awesome. Shawn, thank you so much for coming in and adding such an amazing value to our audience. This has been Zero to Hero. I hope you took something out of it. Be sure to take action so that you can get results just like our guests that you've listened to today. Stay tuned for the next episodes and we'll see you on the next one.